Hello everyone, my name is Adam. This is gonna be my first video of a couple that I'm gonna make. I'm doing these spontaneously, randomly, because I think they're important topics to talk about, and I have some thoughts on them that I think not a lot of people have. Um, so I'd like to hear your opinions and, you know, get a nice conversation going because these are things that are definitely gonna affect us in the next 20 to 30 years. Um, well, I'll start off a bit about me. Um, I'm a electrical engineering student, second year. Um, I like a lot of things. I'd say I'm very passionate um, about pretty much anything. If you're passionate about something, I'm there for you. But um, I really like music. I make music. I listen to a lot of music. I'm very much into sports, currently combat sports. I'm into boxing right now, and also watching UFC and MMA. What else? I like nature. I like thinking about stuff, how we got here, our past, our ancestors. Is there anything after? Does anything happen after we die? Things like that. I like, yeah, it is philosophizing about a couple of things, but it's fun for me. It may bring me to an existential crisis, but it's fun. I like it. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Let's get straight into it. This is my first ever kind of take. I've done a couple of takes before this, didn't work out, so let's hope this works out. Yeah, I'd like to start to talk about the first topic. Now, the first topic is something that we've been seeing for the past couple of years. It started a long time ago, but right now is where it's really picking up. And that topic is future tech, including virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and all that sweet stuff. So, I'll start by saying I'm a huge VR fanatic. I love VR. I love the idea. I love the possibilities, especially in the positive, helpful way. Those kind of possibilities. Gaming is also great in terms of VR, and I think we're just seeing the start of things with the haptic suits and haptic tech and the new and advanced VR goggles and the way they're making it affordable for people, and that's super important. But what I think is VR's I'm gonna use the VR as an umbrella term. What I think VR really shines at is when it's used for specialties. For example, medicine or engineering or for mechanics or for doctors or for artists or for teachers. Now, why I say this is because obviously you guys have probably heard about the whole analogy with, okay, so 30 years ago, phones used to be huge and you needed landlines and everything, and computers used to fill rooms. And now computers fit where, like, you can carry a MacBook around and a phone you can put in your pocket. But classrooms 30 years ago are the same way they are now. So that hasn't improved. Now, with the pandemic, with the introduction of virtual learning, right? I know not everyone's been a huge fan, but it's because there hasn't been any interaction. Um, that's where I think VR shines. Now, when you have things like, think about a mechanic. You have a mechanic who's working on cars, who's checking the tire pressure, who's looking at for example, I'm not sure what mechanics do exactly, but they check a lot of things in a car, and some mechanics check, for example, the material or the build of the car, the chassis or the interior, and they have to feel it. They have to really be able to feel the car, feel the engine roaring, so they can tell, for example, if there's anything wrong or if it's in good shape. Now, If VR gets to a level where you can emulate, or maybe simulate's the right word, that experience of feeling the car, feeling the air pressure when you touch the tire, feeling the engine, feeling your body shaking when the engine's roaring. If you can simulate that, I think that would be a huge breakthrough for mechanics worldwide. Because then, if you want to work on a prototype, or if you want to work on fixing some issue or practicing to fix some issue, then you can do it right there 100 times over with different cars, different setups, different whatever you want in virtual reality. Take medicine. You can take, if you can replicate the real feeling, and this shouldn't be too hard, the real feeling of dissecting a human body, for example, or dissecting some rat or something, then and it's accurate and it's to scale, then the experience and the knowledge that you can get from that would be so much better than what we have nowadays. I mean, think about it. We're learning from textbooks. Jesus, I'm doing electrical engineering second year, and I haven't touched a circuit yet. And it's pretty much, well, it's probably just because of Corona. But even if it wasn't through Corona, I'm sure we would have done a couple of projects. But that's it. Imagine after every class I had where I thought, wow, this is insane that we get to know this. I mean, we're learning about things that run the world. I mean, the tiniest things that you can't even see in your phone, transistors. We like learn how to build those and what those are made of, but it was never in my reach. You know, I still am baffled about how do you do this stuff. I just know what it's made of and how it's done, but that's it. So if there was an app or a simulation in VR where you could really do what you're learning, I think that's the best way to go about it, about teaching, and I think that's the future. You may disagree. You may think that, well, you actually have to touch stuff, and I'm not saying take that out, but if you're able to combine and find that perfect middle ground of classical teaching and then application in VR environment, that's perfect in my eyes. And I think that will bring us to that will skyrocket education rates for everybody, right? And yeah, I mean that's one thing, right? Um, education is one thing. Uh, Training is this on along the same lines with VR, right? Um, Convenience is also something else. Like with augmented reality, if you have Apple's coming out with these new glasses, I heard. Um, they're gonna be augmented reality and not virtual reality. So they're Apple's not really into the whole virtual reality idea. They're into augmented reality. So you're gonna be walking around with these glasses, and for example, you'll be able to see some widget on the top corner of your eye that says, I don't know, this is the weather today. I'm not sure how how much of a convenience you can get from these things from augmented reality, but if it gets to a point where you can like kind of do the shit in the movies where you're moving stuff around, that would be great, obviously, because then you could do the same thing that we were talking about with VR, in AR, in augmented reality, and that's when it gets cool, right? um, that's VR and AR in terms of tech. Now, the real thing I wanted to talk about was how our economy is gonna evolve with that. So, say everyone's learning using virtual reality and now it's implemented and now we have games in virtual reality and you can have a full virtual experience. Um, that's where the tech is, let's say, right? So at that point, when everyone is converging to a higher level of understanding of the world, or understanding of tech, that's when more and more people are going to get into computer science and technology and those fields. And that field is probably going to get saturated. Why I'm saying this is because um, at some point, when we have that technology, people are going to be able to um, emulate a lot of things. And a lot of our work is going to be done by robots. If a lot of our work is going to be done by robots, there's a huge amount of the population that are going to be left jobless. Now, you could retrain them. For example, bus drivers, right? Or truck drivers. You could retrain them to become programmers or some higher level um, kind of academic job or something. But I don't think that's a good idea on the large scale. I think what's a better idea is as we move as a civilization to the point where robots are doing all our work, we can create a society where we move away from labor and into the arts and into the entertainment industry, where people are gonna be split into two. The people who are gonna be interested in researching new science and new ways, maybe I don't know, interplanetary travel or existence, or maybe new types of physics, or new chemistry, new medicine, and all these things. That's gonna be one group, and the ones managing everything. And the other group is gonna be the citizens, where they ideally live together and live to create with to use their creativity to entertain others and to entertain themselves. Now, whether that's with art or music or even inventions or stories, it's all possible. And that's how you live your life, and everyone gets some sort of bottom line safety. No one is starving. Everyone has some bottom line safety because you don't have to labor, you don't have to kill yourself to make some money. Um, you will all get some money, and obviously, if you do the higher level jobs, you'll get more money, you know? But if you should be able to live comfortably and happily and without starvation or hunger or thirst, if you're in the, let's say, not research or managerial level of society, right? Not in that area. So we said there's there's a split two groups. One group, you're doing new research, you're the one like developing the new algorithms and doing all that stuff, and you're getting paid more obviously because not all your time is free time. But the other group, they should be also be able to live comfortably, but not get that much money um, to where you can have all the luxuries and whatever, because you're pretty much, or your extra income should come from a from, I don't know, if you sell your art or your music or entertainment, and that's how it could be. Now, from my perspective, that sounds amazing. So some kind of universal basic income. This is obviously, we're talking like 50 years in the future or something like that, when we get to that point. Some sort of universal basic income, and then you go up from there. Whatever you want to do, you can do whatever you want, but the universal basic income, that should cover your needs. Full stop. In my opinion, that sounds great. I'd love to hear the criticism. Now, however, I wouldn't like to hear the criticism of, oh, that's ideal thinking or that's naive, because that's not productive, right? What I'd like to hear is criticism about because we are going to reach that sort of technological like state, right? Where robots are pretty much doing all the manual labor, and people, because of people are going to be jobless because of that, And so that's going to be an issue. I'd like to hear your solutions, um, your ideas. And if you agree with me or what you change, um, that would be really, really nice to hear. Now, um, with that, I really believe that's the way forward. With that said, I really believe that's the way forward, um, because when people stop having to worry about how they're gonna put food on the table, when people stop worrying about how they're uh, if when at what point they're gonna quit their job because they've been working nonstop and barely making ends meet and they don't even like their job, when they move from that to, hey, I could relax and spend all my time just being creative, or doing whatever I want, but I will only get a limited income where I could afford food, obviously not the best food. I could afford food, I could afford housing and water and all the necessities. Um, that's what you get as like someone who, let's say, doesn't sell anything or doesn't do any work. Now, we move up the income hierarchy a little bit, and we get to people who are half their time is spent relaxing and doing whatever they want and being creative and happy, and half their time is working, and doing some sort of other, not, I wouldn't say, I mean labor, but some sort of job, right? Where they contribute to the development of some system or yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. And then the top of the income hierarchy would be the people who spend most of their time um, doing a job. And these people are probably going to be the people with the highest intellectual capability, so to speak, because at that point, you're going to have really complex problems to go forward. And you need really um, smart people to deal with it. Now, I'm not sure, for example, if the base level of the base education, or I don't know, IQ or something of the civilization is going to go up, but that's how I imagine it. Now, I'm not saying this is the best one, but I think this is a good way forward. Yeah, that's really what I wanted to put out there. Um, this is my first video, so I might have misspoke or uh, not kind of said something very clearly. So if there is anything that you guys think I need to clarify, please write it down below and let me know. And I'd love to clarify my stance. And again, criticism is appreciated and encouraged. Um, let's talk about it. See y'all later.